Hello there. Welcome to another exciting episode of your ultimate and favorite personality profile show here on Info Online. This is Unwrapped. My name is Adam Kobiti Saint. As usual, I'm your host. I know it's been a while since we brought you another interesting episode after our first episode with Olaf. Well, we're back again to tell a friend, to tell another friend, to tell another friend, because you know how it works. But Info Online is back again with Unwrapped. And this night, this Saturday night, it's cold. So we are bringing you something really interesting. My guest is, if not one of the sought after people, she is very interesting. And tonight's conversation is going to be really, really interesting. So tell a friend to tell a friend that Info Online's Unwrapped is on. As usual, we're going on a quick commercial break. When we return, I'll introduce my guest and we'll begin the conversation. Please stay. You're welcome back. This is still Info Online's ultimate personality profile show. This is Unwrapped. My name is Augustine Adam Kobiti Saint. And if you just tuned in, you've not missed anything. I'm here to introduce my guest and we begin the conversation proper. So, if this is your first time as well, you're welcome to Info Online's channel. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. If you haven't, follow us on all social media platforms. On Instagram at info_gram, on Facebook, infobook, on Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. Follow us on Info Online. Now let's get to see who my guest is, right? So today we sit with an exceptional individual. She has not only graced the world of beauty, but has also dedicated her life to empowering young girls and leading the fight for information literacy. She is the reigning UNIMAC IJ, formerly known as the Ghana Institute of Journalism's Miss Communicator 2023. My guest is also an eloquent communicator. It is therefore no surprise that she won Kasanofu, a competition that unearths bold and confident communicators. My guest is not just a beauty queen, she's an advocate for change, a symbol of resilience, and a shining example of what one can achieve when beauty is accompanied by purpose. It's an honor to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Miss Mawuse Abla. Mawuse Abla. Yes, I always get the name wrong. It's Mawuse Abla.
Yeah,
Mawuse.
Mawuse.
You're
Thank you. Thank you
welcome.
so much.
You're welcome. How are you
At a
feeling?
point, I didn't even know you were introducing me because that's one solid profile there. Thank
You
you.
know,
Thank you.
hearing all of this about yourself, how do you feel?
Uh, how I feel, I look back and I can only think about one thing:
Hmm.
growth. There has been
Wow.
so much growth from where I started and where I am now. I think I've grown. Yeah.
True, true. Since you're taking us back, let's talk about your early childhood life.
Hmm.
What was growing up like for you?
It was very typical elder sibling.
Okay, so you're the older one.
Yes, I'm
Out of
oldest
how
out
many?
of five.
Okay.
Yes, would have been four, but one pregnancy from my mom came as twins. So
Oh,
yes, so
okay.
I have twin brothers. I
Okay.
have one brother after me and then a little sister. Yeah, so growing up being the oldest in that home, you were expected to, be responsible, help your mom, help your grandma and your dad if he's around, and also set a good example for your siblings. My childhood life revolved a lot around friends and family because if I was not in school, I was at home.
Home.
Yes, and school was really fun with friends, and home was really interesting with sibling wahala and parents
Mm,
wahala. That's
mm.
basically been it for me. Yeah.
Right. Now, would you say that you mentioned school and home? Would you
Hmm.
say that it played any influence on your growth process this far?
Yes, definitely. I'll start from school because in school I was pushed to do things that I love. And it's one of the things I've grown to appreciate because I attended a private school, Dora Memorial International School Complex in
Okay.
Ho. Once they realize a potential in you, they pick it and they groom it for
Wow.
you. Yes.
Okay.
So in basic school, in JHS, I was seen doing a lot of what do you call it, spoken word. I was doing a lot of
Okay.
spoken word, a
Okay.
lot of recitations, a lot of acting. Yes, and I think that made me realize that okay, this is my strength, and if I want to build on anything from here, I'll build on this. And at home, how home contributed to my growth till now is that my parents were so supportive. They are still very supportive. They don't object to the things that I want, yes, because I think along the line they also realize that I do better at the things I love doing, so they don't impose on me. Yes, they direct me, they give me advice. Well, with this you are thinking of, if you do it this way, I think it will be better than
Better.
if you do it that way. But my parents have not strictly said no, don't do this because this is what I want you to do. No, they always considerate, thinking about what I want. They put me first, and I think it's been a big and major contributor to where I am right now.
Right, and I think it's high time, especially Ghanaian parents,
Yeah,
begin to be supportive of their children. Because
very
like
true.
I'm just imagining if your parents weren't supportive of you doing spoken word, because putting it literally put yourself out there. Some
Yeah,
parents are
yeah,
scared for
yeah.
their
That's
children.
true. That's true.
Anyways, I'm happy at your process,
Thank
your birth process,
you.
and
Thank
how you've come.
you.
Now you've taken us back to your school days. Let's talk about your school days. How
Mm.
was SHS for you like?
Mm.
Um, the way you say, I'm sure it was
Mm.
very
You
interesting.
bet. You bet.
So tell us how was SHS for you like?
I get this nostalgic feeling anytime I think about SHS
Right.
because in JHS, my favorite subject was integrated science. Yes, integrated science, math, and English, but integrated science
Was
at the
it
top.
was
Yeah. So I said, all right, I will offer science in the senior high school. Yes, and already I was dreaming of being a pharmacist. So
oh
that's
okay
why I said, okay, I love science, I love pharmacy, so let me do the
okay
yeah, science in SHS. Little did I know that science in SHS was so
different
different from
exactly
integrated science. I didn't know I was going to be hit with biology, with
chemistry
chemistry, with
physics.
physics, and with E-math. E-math was not a problem for me. It was one of my favorite subjects. And
Mm,
so I think that seeps a bit into the physics because I
yeah,
enjoyed physics too because a lot of physics was E-math.
calculation.
Yeah. But the chemistry aspect, oh my God. Chemistry really, really beat me. And it was very hard for me, but I kept my head above water. I, however, didn't let go of my passion for speaking in senior high school.
Mm,
First of all, I took the role of reading announcements at assembly.
assembly.
Yes, so I joined the announcements committee. I joined the current affairs committee, and then I joined the writers and debaters society there. And surprisingly, it was a booster for me, because it gets to a point where they need someone to recite something
Something.
at Founders Day celebration, and the general art students are there, but they reach for Mawuse from Science
Science
A
class.
class. Yeah, and I think that was my life in SHS. I became the president of the Writers and Debaters Club, and
Okay.
I became library prefect. But I did not let all of that take away my time because I knew what was at stake. I
Steak.
was still reading science. I was advised by many people to change it, but I am scared of that. Like at that time, I was thinking, what will people say?
Say
Well, she isn't as bright as
as
people
people
put her,
think.
yeah, to be. So she's running away from the science. I said, no way. I'm staying. I'm pursuing my speaking passion, but at the same time, I'm doing my science. And yeah, I didn't fail any subject. I was
Mm.
really good with the um, course,
Cause
yes, and E-math perfect. Physics was average, so it was only chemistry and biology that I struggled with a bit, but I still made it
and
through.
here you are currently at Unimac IG.
Yeah, yeah.
Who would have thought that somebody who did science will be? Hey,
Well, I think that's the thing
was
about
there
science.
a change of thought because you say you wanted to do pharmacy?
Yes,
So
there was a
how
change of thought.
come journalism institute?
Well, when I finished SHS,
Mm.
I bought two forms, right? I bought to UHAS, University of Health and
Allied
Allied Sciences,
sciences,
and I chose MedLab, yeah, a medical laboratory
laboratory
science.
science.
That's what I chose. And then I bought the GIJ then. And I was waiting for both to call me, and then I'll weigh the chances and see. Deep down, I knew I wanted to go to GIJ because when I was in SHS, I realized science was not really my thing. So it got to a point where I felt like I was only doing it because I had chosen it. At a point, I was even hard on my mom, like, Mama, why didn't you tell me? Like, you knew. And she told me, look, I always believed in you. I didn't doubt you. I still don't doubt you. I know you can
You
do it.
can.
It's just that you are not enjoying it as much as you thought you would. So I thought about it. So I looked at it and I was like, okay, I speak well. I enjoy interacting with people. I
People.
love human relations. I enjoy anything communications. So let me go for GIJ. Let me read the journalism. And if things go well, I'll be a lecturer. But I
Mm.
would have um, that stronghold in broadcast journalism so that maybe once in a while I could be on
To
TV. I
do
mean, when you
okay.
are visualizing the dreams, they look so in line like that. They look like, okay, from here I'll
You're
go,
going there.
yeah, but there are challenges. So, yeah, you has never called me. Fun fact, I never got admission from
Wow.
you has. And I didn't even get admission from GIJ until after the online orientation. Yeah, so I had given up. I thought I'll stay home for a year and try again the next year. Then in 2022, in January, I got a
Mm.
message from GIJ that I was called.
Okay.
So when I told my parents, they said, do you want to do it again? So I asked them yes. I asked myself and I told them yes. And so my dad said, okay, bring me the fees, the hostel fees, the school fees. He paid and he dropped me in the hostel, and that's how my
That's
life
it.
in GIJ began.
And
Yeah.
see where you are now. You are now best communicator.
It didn't come easy.
I know, but first of all, before we get to the crown and the
Mm,
glitz and glamour of
mm.
the whole thing, what's miscommunicator about?
Miscommunicator, well, formerly it was face of GIG, right?
Oh, so it's like, oh, okay, so this pageant for every institute.
Yes,
Like, okay,
exactly.
okay,
Yeah,
I
then
actually
we
thought
have
something else.
Miss Legon and all that. Yeah, it was formerly face of GIG, but in 2021, the Women's Commissioner, Miss Farida, she thought about how they didn't just want a face. It was not just an ordinary pageant, not just a face. They wanted someone who
Who
could
could
carry the
take on?
ideals of the institution, yes, to someone who was a communicator and understood that these are the values of the institution. These are what we need in our queen, not just a face. So she transitioned the pageant from face of GIJ to miscommunicator.
Miscommunicator.
That's what miscommunicator is.
Wow.
Mm.
Now, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of when you are judged miscommunicator. I mean, I was there. I was there
Hmm.
that night. When you are judged, I could see the beaming smiles on your face. I was like, what is running through your mind? What were you thinking?
It was just a it was an outcome of
Did
hard
you
work.
ever envision during the level 100 you saw miscommunicator? Okay, I want to be part of miscommunicator.
Mm.
But did you ever envision winning?
Of course, who enters a competition and doesn't want to win?
Win.
I envisioned winning so many times. Even the day of the grand finale, I saw myself winning. However, I never underestimated any
Mm,
contestant because it was a competition. Anything could have
could
happened here.
happen.
So even though I wanted to win, I didn't let it get to my head that I was better than anybody.
Anybody.
I still brought my ASA game. Yeah.
I could see. But let's come back. What were you thinking? What was running through your mind?
Yeah, like I said, an outcome of hard work, really hard work. In fact, I think ladies who enter national pageants are strong. They do so well because even a school pageant, not like I'm debating the value of a school pageant, but one would expect the responsibilities and the
See,
requirements to be a bit lower than national pageants. But it was so tough. So I can just imagine what people who enter Ghana was beautiful and
beautiful.
Miss Malika go through. But at that moment, I was elated. I was so happy that all the hard work had paid. Yeah. And
Right.
when I was screaming, I was looking at two people in the crowd. I was looking at my parents and I was looking at my coach.
Okay.
Yeah, my coach Efoko Kumauto, and then my mom and dad, because they were the people who had seen me at my worst in that pageant. And
Right. Now,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, you're hitting so hard. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
yeah.
Take us through a typical. I know you had performances.
Mm-hmm.
Take us.
That
What is
task.
your yes your task? What was your preparation process like?
Hmm.
Like from the start of the week to when you deliver. What is the process like?
Hmm. I didn't start preparing for Miss Communicator when Miss Communicator was announced in 2023. I
Started way
started
back.
preparing when I witnessed the auditions of Miss Communicator 2022. I
Okay.
remember the days, the venue, the time, everything.
Wow.
Actually, that day, I was going through a lot with a school project. I was so angry. I just finished crying my eyes out, and I was looking for something to do to just take my mind off school a bit. Then I remembered, oh, there's an audition in my hostel, so why not just go and look? I saw and then I thought like, why am I so scared of pageants? Because yes, I was very scared of pageants. Growing up, we were made to believe that pageants were for certain kinds of people only,
Mm,
people who looked a certain way, dressed a certain way. Yeah. I asked myself, why am I so scared of pageants? Because looking at this, it's not so hard. It's
hard.
something I can do. So that was in 2022. I told myself in 2023 I would join this pageant, and that was when I started preparing. I started reading, started doing research. I started interacting with former queens to
Okay.
take me through the process.
Process.
One time at midnight, I texted my friend like, "Guy, I'm going crazy. Like this miscommunicator thing has really settled in my mind." I'd pretend I was in front of a crowd. Then I start asking myself questions and answering to an
Answering.
imaginary crowd. Yeah. And I downloaded lots of pageant videos, especially from Miss Malaika, and just a few from Ghana's
That's
Most
beautiful.
Beautiful. I had a folder on my computer named Journey to Queenship,
Okay.
and I put the videos there. I used to watch, especially Miss Malaika finishing school, the
Mm,
questions they asked
mm.
them, how they expect them to answer, and all that. And then I had coaches. My main coach was Efo Koku Malto, and I had a coach, another coach at the side, Smart Techi Nixon. Yes, he's a voiceover artist and a playwright. Those were the people who were helping me. Um, you can't do everything on your own. You need to sometimes ask them. Yeah, so they were the ones who told me, look, for this question you cannot answer like this.
Like that.
Yeah, because everybody will say that, so you need to be different, you need to be unique.
Okay.
That's with the preparation part. For the auditions, I went through sessions with my coaches, of course, because I didn't start preparing just that month or that week that the announcement was made. It was quite easy on me. The day of the audition, the auditions I passed through, and that was when the real work began. The financial part was really heavy
Mm.
too on me because we were required to buy stuff. Sometimes they were not required to buy it,
By
but for
you.
yourself you need to sacrifice, get the money from somewhere, get your colleagues to vote for you, and prepare for the weekly task. Yes, the weekly task, my coaches helped me. Sometimes you have to get props.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, props to make your task
More
interesting.
catchy.
Yeah, yeah, because if everyone comes and stands to talk to the crowd, what makes you different?
Different.
That was always a question running through my mind in the pageant. What will make me different? So for this topic, how cultural practices affect
Affects
gender
this.
inequality. I went to Sakumono. I took a car from Osu to Sakumono to take a globe from a friend to use to indicate the different types of cultures around the world and how they had an impact on gender equality or gender inequality. So the globe was a representation of the earth. Those things catch the judges' eyes. Yeah, that was it for me. And towards the grand finale, I looked within. I looked for a project that would match with the theme, which was celebrate your way. And I put in my best. I worked really hard.
Clearly, before this interview, I watched a couple of weekly tax performances on the
Mm,
Women's Commission
mm.
page, and you won star performer, like if not back to back, you were like one of toppest.
Voter. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
and I'm not surprised because of the way you're speaking. You're just always thinking of what to make you stand out,
yeah,
and it's important to stand out in
yeah,
a competition, bringing
definitely.
something different
Yes.
to the table. Now, aside the crown, what inspired you to genuinely inspired you? What was that push button, that thing that touched the push button to? You know what? I really want to be. Not aside everything, I want to be a part of this because of this reason.
Mm.
What reason is that?
The reason is a quote that you cannot grow if you are in your comfort zone. And as I mentioned earlier, I was
Scared
scared
of
of
pageants.
pageants. Yes. And looking at how I had grown from, in 2022, I had really gone through a tough growth process, and I was enjoying it because when you step out of your comfort zone, you challenge yourself, you become excited about it. There's always something to look forward to. Yes, and after witnessing that audition, I said, well, I want to do this. I should do this. I shouldn't always be in that shell of being afraid of pageants, because pageants are not for specific kinds of people only. They're for everybody. And if you think you have the potential, even if you don't think you have it, you can go in and build it. You can build on what you already have. And that was where the inspiration came
Came
from.
from.
I'm stepping out of my comfort zone.
Right. It's important to be different. It's important to step out of the comfort zone. It's important to be different. It's important to what else? What else?
Stand out,
Stand
yeah.
out, And my guest has spoken a lot about her process. But let me ask, if you were to point out to one person you say, oh, throughout the whole competition, this was like the person, my buddy, because I know that competitions can be really tough. So
Mm,
you sometimes you cry,
yeah.
you'll be like, why did I even come here? Did you ever have that thought? Why
Numerous. Yeah.
maybe I have a headache?
I know, right? Yeah, I faced challenges. My number one challenge was finances, as I mentioned. My
Hmm.
number two, which is almost the same as number one, was heels during training. So at the auditions, the judges were quite impressed with how I walked in heels.
Okay.
But during the contest, I was not the best in heels. Why? During the auditions, we were not given specific
Specific,
heels to wear. So I wore what I was comfortable
comfortable
in.
in.
Yeah, so I could, of course, move and twirl in what I was comfortable in. But during the pageant, we were given specific inches, all that, height, the stilettos, the platforms, and it was
Hey,
hard for me to adjust. So sometimes after training, you have to be in the heels for the whole 2 or 3 hours that
yes.
you are training. And I'm going home and my feet are hurting, and I'm like, okay, God, who sent me here? Like those days where and days where you don't really get the vote.
Oh.
It was depressing, but we all had people who always speak to us and lift
Hmm.
our spirits up.
Who was that person among the contestants? Who was that person you would do that with?
In the competition, it was Nakai. Na was a really good friend. It didn't even feel like we were in a competition at all. It felt like we were just two friends who wanted to do better with their
Hmm.
life. Because it got to a point that Na, the groomer sticks, he pointed out to Na, because Na was really good with the catwalk stuff, that she needs to be helping me to get
Okay.
better. So Na would help me with catwalk, and in turn I'll help her with speaking,
Speaking.
how to deliver her speech very well. With the help of my coach, we all worked hand in hand. So now was a really good friend during the pageant. I'm not sure she saw me as a competition. Neither did I see her as a
Nice
competition.
competition.
We were just two sisters in a place of learning, and that was
Right.
what we were doing. We were learning.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting story there. But we're going on a quick break. When we return, there's more to stay. You're welcome back. This is still Unwrapped here on Info Online. My name is Adam Kobe Saint. And if you just tuned in, you've missed not so much, even though you've missed a lot. But there's still more to come. My guest, Mawuse Abla, she is the current Miss Communicator 2023 from Unimac IJ. And she's been talking about her process throughout the journey and her life. Right now, we're going to be talking about your project.
Mm.
Now, it is expected, Heavy is the one who wears the crown, or Heavy is the
Mm.
head that
Head.
wears the
Yeah.
crown. Exactly. So you're expected to have a project.
Mm.
What is your project, and
Mm.
how do you intend to unfold it?
Okay. My project is dubbed PATI, PATI. It's the
Okay.
project Aspire to Inspire. Before I chose this project, I asked myself, what do I want to do to help the ladies in GIJ? One, and two, how does it align with the theme of the pageant? So the theme was celebrate your way. And Celebrate Your Way is telling us as young ladies that we have a big goal. We have that self actualization goal. But along the line, we have achieved little wins that we don't really pay attention to. So, Celebrate Your Way is telling us to appreciate the little wins while we make it to the top. So, you are celebrating that win, no matter how little it is. Is it you being able to present in class even though you are scared of a crowd? Appreciate it. Is it you starting a small business? Appreciate it. That's Celebrate Your Way. So the project Aspire to Inspire is supposed to come in threefold. First is podcast, second is documentaries, and last is merit awards. The podcast is going to help young ladies of JIJ to tell their success stories. There's so many ladies in JIJ doing lots of things that the world needs to hear about. Yeah. And we don't need to put the spotlight on only some people. Yeah. So we want to open the floor for young ladies who are doing things to share their success stories. That's with the podcast. With the documentaries, there are going to be only selected fews. We'll run documentaries on them, and the number of documentaries we'll be able to run will depend on the amount of sponsorship we are able to bag.
Okay.
And we'll post them on YouTube, and if possible, get media houses to air them as well, so that the world can hear about these
That
girls'
story.
stories. And for merit awards, it's awards, of course, purely on merit, nothing like voting. You apply, you bring your achievements, the board assesses them, and if you are good to go, we award you with whatever little that we can. So that when you feel down as a woman, a young lady in GIJ, when you feel like you've had enough, you can't make it anymore, you look back on these your little wins and you pick yourself up and continue the journey.
That's interesting. I've never heard of a project like this before. Honestly speaking, most beauty queens come with a pageant of with their project. Okay, I'm going to help girl child, but yes, it's more like education. I'm building a hospital, doing breast cancer. Wow, that's interesting.
Thank
But then
you.
how do you tend to finance all of this? Do you have a finance system or you've
Mm.
written to institutions to support? What's your finance system like?
Okay. Apart from sponsorship, we have an action plan that has all the companies we intend to write to. And from my little research, the trick is that towards the end of the year, most companies are drawing a budget. So it's important to submit the letter at the end of the year so that they can include you in their budget for the next year, if that's with sponsorship. But immediately I received my cash prize as winner for Miss Communicator. I bought a condenser. I bought, a set, a microphone with the little mixer
Okay.
thing. Yeah, that will be used for recording the podcast.
Podcast.
And we know podcasts don't take much. You just need your microphone, your quiet location, and you record, you edit with your editor on your laptop, you post on a platform. For location, that's the only thing holding us back now. We've written to a few locations, and one is reviewing our proposal. Yes, we once we get approval with that place, that location, we start recording and we promote their days in
Place.
visuals on social media. We put their logo on our flyer because after all, they are a sponsor. So if the Office of Miss Communicator is releasing a flyer, that their logo has to be on it. Yeah, that's with the recording part. And for the documentaries, it's going to rely heavily on network because I have made a network of friends who are into photography, who are into video editing, who will be more than glad to come on board to help to bring this dream to a reality. That's how I plan to finance it.
Wow. This is interesting. Honestly speaking, it sounds like a Cinderella story. Like from this it goes to that. I'm just hoping that it won't be one of these beauty pageants, these beauty queens projects that they come and they talk about it, but it doesn't see the light of day. I'm really praying that it becomes something because it is something unheard of.
Mm.
No beauty queen has come up with something like this, so it would be very interesting to see such a project being
Well,
executed.
when I won, I told myself one thing that when I leave office, I want every other girl who applies to be Miss Communicator or who aspires to be Miss Communicator to say, I want to be like Queen Mawuse.
Mousy.
Yeah, so I'm very bent on making sure that this comes to life and it doesn't end with me,
Me.
it
So
continues.
more like a blueprint.
Yes, exactly.
All
So
right.
everything that comes has to continue the podcast and add it to their project so it becomes a long lasting thing. Yeah. So rest assured, we are going to make sure that this project comes
More
to
like a
life.
legacy project.
Mm.
Interesting. But now let's talk about the misconceptions about beauty pageants. You
Mm.
know, before someone goes for a beauty pageant, person will tell you that, oh, you need to look, like you said, you need to
Yeah.
look a certain way. You
Mm.
need to walk a certain way, talk a
Mm.
certain way, think a certain way, and do certain things.
Mm.
Now, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Mm.
Most people say, if you want to win, well, you have to be doing sneaky things
Mm.
with the judges and all of that. Through your process,
Mm.
did you ever encounter any of them?
No, none. And it's one thing I was very happy for because I held back from pageants because of misconceptions, and
Mm.
the only pageant I entered made sure to clear my mind of those misconceptions. I think most times we don't need to blame the ladies for doing that. Sometimes it's the pageant, it's the
Oh, so it's something
organizers.
that happens.
Well,
Actually, there was a misconception.
we've heard,
Okay.
they happen. Sometimes I can't lie. Sometimes people they are so desperate. They want
To
to do
win.
something to win. Yeah, so I would understand that they can, toe along the lines of going to do sneaky things. But I think that depends on the organizers of the pageant
Mm.
because if the pageant is really looking for a queen that is capable, it needs to be transparent. For Miss Communicator, we did not know the judges that were coming until a day or two before the program. Komla Adom,
Mhm.
Safwa GMB 2021,
21.
and Miss Jury Africa reigning queen. There was no way you were going to get into any sneaky relationship with them to try to, coax them into giving you higher scores than other people. Yeah. And also, during our auditions, our groomers were the judges with Arabase. Arabase is, we
Mm.
all know him. Yes. Arabase was there to look at everybody's performance so that in the long run, when someone wins and rumors start spreading that this person did not deserve it,
Deserve it.
it's on record that there was an outsider at the auditions who saw the potential of every girl, and that person can stand
Vouch.
objectively to say that this person deserves to win. So for me, I did not encounter anything of that sort. I felt very comfortable. I think one of the reasons is that it was in GIJ. GIJ is like home
Home.
to me, yes.
Right.
Felt very comfortable. I was myself, but at the same time, I was being pushed to bring out the best
Yes.
in myself. Yeah.
Interesting. Now let's talk about this. Do you have a role model? Someone you look up to? Or you are part of the school of thought that doesn't subscribe to having a role model?
This question is it's one that I find very dicey. For me, to be very brutally honest with
Mm-hmm.
you, my role model is the vision I have of my future self. I look up to her and I make sure I work to become like her. Yeah, that's my role model.
You are one person. I would say it's different. I mean, everybody. Well, if you ask me who my role model is, I'm definitely going to mention someone, but
Mm,
like
mm.
someone real. But yours is more like the ambition, which is kind of like a motivation, don't you think?
I think definitely that's your role model has to be your motivation. And I think if you have someone in the limelight as your role model, you'd want to make your life exactly like theirs. And it will get to a time where you lose originality.
Mm.
So I think we should subscribe to them as mentors, as coaches, rather than as
Role
role models.
models.
That's just what I think because my role model is my future self. What I see her doing, where I see her at, who I see her being surrounded by at that time is who I work to be like.
Right. Now let's just clear this
Mm,
so that people are conscientize.
Mm.
Is there a difference between having a role model and having a mentor?
Yes, having a mentor is you're more intimate with a mentor, and by intimate I mean close. You have that
Close.
closeness with them. You connect with them because they are in a field that you also want to be in, so they better understand your
Stand,
needs and
right.
guide you. Yes, and a role model is someone you want to be like. And for me, I don't think we should want to be like certain people. We should want to be like ourselves. We should want to be like the people we want to be like in future. Yes. If you say that, well, I admire this person, I want to be on TV like them, I want to, well, you should find a way to get them to mentor you so that you can understand the rubrics of that industry rather than, in quote, worshiping them as role models. Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a role model
Role
like that
model.
before. No. It's always
Right.
been my future self.
Okay, so now what would you tell a 13-year-old Mousy, starting of life in 13 years you've been in JHS, right?
Yes.
Yes, so 13 years she's in JHS.
Yes.
What would you tell young Mousy?
If I could have her sit in your place right now, I'm sure I'd talk to her till tomorrow. But
Like you score her
no,
properly.
but I would sum it up to just three things. Don't look down on yourself. Like, I'll tell her not to ever look down on herself. She should always speak positivity into her life. And I'll tell her to not do things she does not feel like doing, because 19-year-old Mause has realized that she only does better at things she wants to do and things she's invested in doing. There are things that I didn't want to do, but I settled with, okay, let's give it a try and see.
Hmm.
And they did not end well for me. Even till
Right.
now, I realized just recently I did something that I didn't really want to do, but because of pressure, and I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. And I did not like the result. So I'll tell a 13-year-old Malfoy to do only what her heart wants to do, what her mind and her soul agree are what she wants to do. And finally, I tell her to work hard and shy away from procrastination, because procrastination has really been a setback for me. Yes. And the things that you can do now, don't put them off till tomorrow. Just stick with them and do them. So, first, don't look down on
Yeah.
yourself. Second, do what you want
Want
to
to
do.
do.
And third, do them at the right time. Don't play around with time,
Procrastinate.
because there really isn't time.
There really isn't time. Indeed, there really isn't time. We're going on a quick break. When we return, there's more. And there's a fun segment, so do stay. You're welcome back. This is Still Unwrapped. My name is Adam Kobiti Saint. I'm your host. And we're talking to Miss Mousy. She's asking me to stop calling her Miss Mousy, but I just don't know why I keep doing Miss Mousy Abla. She is the reigning Miss Communicator 2023, and we've had an interesting and
Yeah.
educative as well as an informative segment.
Yeah.
I know here on Info Online, we bring in nothing but the best. We are setting new standards. Now, before we go, let's talk about you are a member of the literacy MIL,
Media
Media
and
Information
Information
Literacy. I was
Literacy.
just thinking of what the M was.
Mm.
What is the Media and Information Literacy Club, and what do
Mm.
you do?
Media and Information Literacy Club was launched just last month,
Mm.
yeah, in September. It's a club that brings together like-minded people who want to make sure that they understand how to use the internet. So it's a club that seeks to educate young people, especially, on understanding the usage of media, what to consume, how to consume it, what not to consume, so that the spread of misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation can be stopped. And by educating the younger ones, the news gets to spread so that more people are vigilant when they are on the internet, because now AI is fast growing, and you can never know. AI is garbage in, garbage out. What you
Right.
give it is what you get, and so there's a lot of misinformation. Yes, that's basically what the Media and Information Literacy Club seeks to do.
Right. Now, I think it's a good initiative. It's not even
Mm,
like I think it's a good. I know it's a good
mm,
initiative because
mm,
right now, if you go on the internet, there's so much news,
Yeah,
and how to decipher if this is true, this is false,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
authentic, this is garbage
Exactly,
is.
especially for young journalists and public relations practitioners who would be going out to inform people themselves. They
Mhm.
need to know the difference between the misinformation, the disinformation, the malinformation, and the real deal. They need to know how to fact check their information before they put it out there, because countries have been destroyed with just the use of media.
Media.
Yeah, so that's what MIL Club seeks to correct. It's a very good initiative.
Now,
Yeah.
if I see news online, especially on Twitter, now
Mm.
X, there's a lot of false news on
Mm.
there.
Mm.
People go and then just type, and then with the click of a button, it's spread.
Yeah.
How do I fact check
Mm.
if this is authentic, if
Mm.
this is false, this is true? Is
Mm.
there a process I need to go through?
Well, that would require a very like thorough session. But in summary, when you doubt news or before you share news, try looking out for the source.
Hmm.
Who is it coming from? Is the person credible? Can the person be trusted? Can the person be held accountable? If this information should be used for what it should not be used for, check the date it was posted, because someone might post something. For instance, this political season,
Mhm.
someone might put something that, okay, this is what President
You
Nana
have said.
Akufo-Addo has said. You need to check, is it something he said recently or is something he said 10 years ago? Because the internet keeps receipts and anyone can go and dig something
And
and
bring it back.
bring it back. So you check the date, so you check the source, you check the date. Yes, those are the two main important. Check the author, the person who is writing this. For example, if there's news that there is cure for a certain disease, when you check the credentials of the person writing that, is the person a health practitioner, is he a medical, a
Mhm.
licensed person to practice medicine? These are the things you should check. And for pictures, there are tools online. There is Google reverse image search you can use to check if a picture has been altered, if something has been edited, if it's an AI generated picture. Yeah, there are many tools online that you can use.
Right. I have just gone to school on on fact checking in 5 minutes. So the first thing you need to do is to check the source,
Yeah,
check the author,
check the
and
date.
check the date
Yeah,
as well. These are
run Google reverse image searches. Yeah.
right. Interesting. Mawuse, it's quite unfortunate that our conversation is gradually drawing to the end.
I
But then
know.
you whispered that you were ambassador for Top Choco.
Yes, yes. A campus ambassador for
For Top
Unimac IG.
Choco.
Dr. Choco. Yeah.
That is like another chalk on your achievement board. I'm sure it should be really long.
Personally, I say that ambassador deal is my journey to being on a billboard, because it's one of my long-term
Okay,
goals. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so I'm holding it really dearly. Also
Mm.
because I think it's going to, open doors for me. I enjoy doing it because it comes, it's not an easy job.
Mm.
You need to promote the brand. It comes with challenges. The people are watching you, the people who gave you the job are watching you, and when you work hard, you do it well, you get rewarded. Yes, so it's also just something to do to pass away time, and I love doing it.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Now let's talk about something which is quite topical right now. Women and girl child empowerment.
Mm.
We keep hearing women and girl child empowerment, but actually women are not being empowered. We have women who are not really set out to do what they want to do, you
Mm.
know. But then we keep doing women empowerment, women empowerment. What is your take on women empowerment? Do you think that the current way women are being empowered is not enough? There should be maybe a mega empowerment. Instead of doing women empowerment, should become mega women empowerment to really drum home the women empowerment and girl child narrative.
Well, I think you cannot empower a person who doesn't want to be empowered.
Right.
Yes, I think um, now everyone's eyes are open. A lot of people are now joining the feminism bus to push women to do more. But I think that one thing they are forgetting to do is to find out from the women if they want to do more themselves. Yes, because I think what they are doing is enough. Now they should shift their attentions to the inside of the girls or the women. They should find out if they really, if that's
Want.
what they want to do. Yes, because some people maybe are okay with the mediocrity.
Mm.
And so they should work at getting them out of those shells, those codes of, well, I'm okay where I am, and let them understand what the women empowerment is. Because yes, you use such a word to, quote it, women empowerment. What is women empowerment? Let them understand. I think with that, they'll be interested in it. They'll put in more effort because, like I said, you can't empower someone who
Who
doesn't
doesn't want
want
to
to
be
be
empowered?
empowered. So if they understand, in my opinion, they'll be more vested in it, and women will become empowered because already there are so many opportunities. I even feel pity for the men sometimes, like they are being sidelined.
Sidelined,
Yes,
exactly.
because now big, huge opportunities are opening for the women because of women empowerment. So all that is left for us to do is to get the women involved to understand the benefits, the impact it will have on them even 10 years from now. And with that, yeah, I think empowerment is just good the way it is.
Right. Now let's talk about the voter region, which
Mm.
is your home. You're from the
Yeah,
voter region.
yeah, I
And
am.
recently, if not like the past couple of weeks, they've
Mm.
been in the news
Yeah,
due to the
that's
Akosombo Dam
true.
spillage.
That's true.
What do you make of the whole situation?
I think it's very unfortunate. It's a very unfortunate situation, and some politicians have made inconsiderate statements in
Mm.
relation to the incidents. And also, I think as a country, we lack the disaster management strategies, and that is why the people are struggling. That is why we are struggling. They are losing things that no amount of money can get them back. Because I sat back and I'm thinking, someone loses their certificate, what are they going
Going
to
to
do?
do.
Yes, these are things that money can't buy, because even our lectures in school say that certificates are awarded, they are not earned. Yes.
Mm.
But I think so far the noise about it is dying
Dying.
down because they are now putting in more effort to address the issue, to make sure the people are in a safer place. And maybe the other worries about the losses can come afterwards. And now that they are being put in safe houses, they are being, catered for, it's the first step to fixing the entire issue rather than politicians bickering at each other. That's what I make of this whole thing. I think it's one step at a time, and they've taken a good step. That's it.
Right, one step at a time. Finally, we've come to the end of the conversation. Miss Mawuse, thank you so much. But
Thank
I
you for
said we are going to
having
play a game.
me.
So let's play the game, shan't we? Now, this game is quite simple.
Mm,
It is game in five.
mm,
So you are going to be having about 5 seconds to think of the answer to the question,
mm,
and then you answer.
mm,
We good?
okay.
Okay, so the first one is rapid fire favorites. What's your favorite book, movie, and food?
My favorite book is Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl by
Mm-hmm.
Joya Goffney. My favorite food, Banku with okra soup. My favorite movie, I'd say it's Reminiscence. Yeah, watch a movie
Okay,
called Reminiscence.
okay. So this the second one is time travel's dilemma. If you could travel to any era in history for a day,
Hmm.
where and when would you go and why?
I'd go to the revolution, the time of
Who wants to
the
go back
revolution.
there?
I want to experience it. I want to see it happening. I want to see,
Mm.
when the invention started, coming. And yeah, that's where I want to be, just to have a feel of it. It's not my comfort zone. And since I want to go, I'm going back there.
Okay, the third one is desert island disc. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only bring three songs, what would they be?
Three songs. First to be Hello by Aquila, and I'd bring. I don't know, some Ariana Grande songs to suit me. And oh, my favorite gospel song. Oh God, I'm forget. Peace by
Okay.
yeah, Peace.
Are you a um,
No.
Ghanaian? Okay, so yeah, okay, well, really, from the songs you mentioned, they are quite
Mm,
foreign.
yeah, I
Who's
guess.
your favorite Ghanaian artist?
Favorite Ghanaian artist? Is Stone Boy. I really love
Okay,
Stone Boy. Yeah,
okay,
Stone Boy is good.
okay. If you could have any job in the world for a day, what job would it be and why?
I'll be a pharmacist for a day because it was once my
What you
dream.
wanted to
Yeah.
do. Embarrassing moment. Share a funny or embarrassing moment from your life that still makes you laugh.
Makes me laugh. Embarrassing moments. Ah, that's a hard one. I don't remember any. of
Embarrassing
them.
moments.
Mm.
Okay.
There are lots of them, but I just don't remember them
Remember.
right now. Yeah.
Okay. So superpower fantasy. If you could have one superpower, what would it be in? And how would you use it to save the world?
One superpower. I don't know. Get anything I want. Like I mentioned something and I get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, provide for people, but selfishly because I want as many books as possible. So I just mention all the books. I'm a reader. I'm a bibliophile. I love to read. So stack my room with lots of books. Then I can go out to provide for people who are
Oh, so
genuinely
yours is
in
for
need.
yourself first.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. Time machine wish list. If you could send a message to your past or future self, what would it be?
Oh,
Well,
but we did that already. Okay, so I should say the same things
yes.
I
If
said.
you want to send a message to your future self,
My
what?
future,
Yes.
future self. I'm coming for you. I'm coming. Like I want to be like you, and I'm going to work my throat off. I almost use a curse word. I'm going to work really hard to be like you. Yeah.
Wow. I just saw this. Let me ask.
Mm.
Personal anthem. What's the song that best represents your life or personality?
A song that best, let's say Unstoppable by Sia. Yeah. I
Unstoppable.
am.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Miss Mawuse, Mawuse Abla.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. We know
Thank
this
you for
this was on
having
short
me,
notice.
Kobe.
This was on short notice. We are so much
Don't
grateful.
worry, it's a pleasure for me being here. I hope that young ladies and young men can watch this video and pick a lesson or two. I hope to be an inspiration to people out there, and it's all because of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you too for gracing our screens. And on that note, that's how we wrap up this edition of Info Online, your ultimate favorite and personality profile show, Unwrapped with Mousy. Thank you. Well, as usual, be good, stay safe, have a fantastic Saturday evening. My name is Adam Kobiti saying see you on the next episode.